What is going on? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. So today we're going to talk to you on VinFast. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out about the company itself, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 0.42%. Rather quiet today, so 2.8 million shares being traded, 4.8 is the average. Broader market overall is kind of mixed because there was some good data coming out through the ADP non-farm employment. So 164 versus 115,000, which was the forecast. So amazing data. But the broader market over the last several days has been pulling back because a lot of the stocks and just the indexes in general are overbought. So you kind of have conflicting stuff. Data points are very strong to indicate a upside, but yet the technicals are kind of pointing down. So this is why right now the market is mixed. Today there has been no news from VinFast itself. So the last news was on January the 2nd, and that was this right here. So I feel like it's just being listed under VinFast news because of it listing VinPearl, but in here has nothing to do with VinFast itself. Positive stuff on VinFast's website. They are really pushing leasing, so that should really stand to benefit VinFast overall. And plus, it is good to note that they have finally updated the press releases. This is something I have been bringing up time and time again, the fact that their own website does not actually keep up to date with a lot of the recent news. So this is a positive thing. Still though, you have to monitor what they do upload because they tend to delete some news. So that's something sketchy behind the scenes. And there was a sell-off that did happen, as you can kind of see right here, and that was because of this document. So they are registering shares. Clearly, just the broader market is seeing these documents through the SEC. So right here, so the market saw these prospectuses and assumed the absolute worst, whereas they already did have a S3 filed, I do believe. So a lot of this is just registering shares, not actually new dilution, if that makes sense. It is dilution, just not new. This is already known stuff. So in my opinion, I feel like this sell-off right here is kind of unjustified, but what do I know? I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. I just wanted to quickly play this one, it's about 1 minute long of this video, and it puts it in perspective on maybe what to expect in 2024 and potentially how it might not be as exciting as what a lot of people might think.
All right, our next guest says that the risk reward in equities today isn't as good as it was a year ago. He says investors should expect lower returns and higher volatility. Oh, goody. Here we go with the new year. We want to bring in Burns McKinney for this. He's senior portfolio manager at NFJ Investment Group. Why don't you talk a little bit about this, Burns? Why do you think that this is a riskier year?
Well, basically, one way we're looking at it is that investors had a great 2024 during the fourth quarter of 2023, and really the one primary mover of markets for the last year has been interest rates. And so when the Fed pivoted, the Jay Powell and company said, maybe we might even cut rates 3 times next year. And what did the market hear? Well, the market heard 6 times. The analogy I sometimes try to picture is, have you ever seen someone walking their dog? It's a big dog, and they're getting just pulled along on the leash. Well, that big dog is investor expectations, and the fellow at the end of the leash, that's Jay Powell getting yanked along by animal spirits. And as a result of that big rally, you're looking at U.S. equities trading at about 21, 22 times earnings. That's more expensive than they've been about 75% of the time this millennium. So overall, I think the risk reward isn't as good. That said, breadth is expanding. And so for stock pickers and those who are selective, there definitely are opportunities this year.
All right, let's stick with that analogy.
So yeah, ultimately, when it comes down to that and extending it to VinFast, like a lot of people and companies are going to be looking at metrics, and that has been something I've been bringing up time and time again with VinFast. Just the PS ratio still, despite it being at this price, is rather high. So that is something just to kind of consider bigger picture as well going forward. They are going to continuously need money, so a lot more registered shares and whatever else. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Going over everything, VinFast is still being heavily shorted. Surprisingly enough though, shorts are returning some shares. So today shorts are returning about 419.36 thousand shares, 18.28% 25% of the free float is being shorted, and 7.37 million shares overall are being shorted. Based on what has happened, they did increase this morning, so roughly about 1 million shares, and then they have slowly been returning. So that's kind of what's been dictating the broader market, or I guess for VinFast today. So VinFast is still very much being controlled by shorts behind the scenes. So let me know your thoughts on that. I have been really monitoring what analysts are doing for this upcoming Q4 earnings to see if there's been any changes. So far, nothing. So when it comes to the earnings per share, there is two estimates with a consensus of negative 22 cents. So that's kind of a positive thing, not as bad as I would have anticipated. And for Q4 revenue, it is anticipated to be 570 million, and that is based on 3 analyst estimates. And just looking at the latest analyst ratings through tip ranks, as you can kind of see, so last one did come in yesterday, and that was by BTIG, a $10 price target, and that was a buy rating. Gregory does have a 46% success rating, so kind of mixed. Still, regardless though, analysts looking at VinFast clearly shows that it means something. So $10, take that with a grain of salt. You guys always do your own due diligence, like I always say. Based on all 3 of the consensus or the analysts combined, $9.67, which does represent a 37% upside. So let me know your thoughts. When it comes to options though, $140,000 in calls being purchased versus 213 in puts. Sentiment wise, 62% of all the options being done today is bullish. So you kind of have shorts closing out some of their positions today, which is a very bullish act, as well as this. So who knows, maybe this might be a potential bottom. Like I said, based on this actual issuance right here, or the prospectus, this is just registering shares, not new shares. So this sell-off that did happen over the last couple of days right here could be perceived as a overreaction. So potentially people are just buying call options to accommodate and maybe estimate that there is going to be a nice bounce coming sooner rather than later. Of the call options that are being purchased, it is anticipated for it to be above $9 by the end of next week. So that's kind of a good thing. And looking at puts, it is anticipated for it to be sub $7. So I feel like the risk versus reward is definitely very much there for VinFast. These are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000. So it goes to show that big money isn't necessarily doing all that much with VinFast, but like I mentioned at the very beginning, the volume is rather low, so that's kind of to be expected. Of course, looking at the technicals though, with it at 707 is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 692 is a very strong support, and it did bounce off of that, so that's generally a very good sign. Vice versa, 784 is going to be that next strong resistance. There's more data coming out, so non-farm payroll coming out tomorrow, so that might give it some justification to potentially touch this pivot of 784. Looking right here, you do see number of retail investors getting out of VinFast, so not necessarily the best sign for that. Stochastic, so VinFast was similar to the broader market, was very overbought. Because of this recent downtrend that has been happening over the last several days, it kind of is resetting the technicals. So once again, that might actually stand to really benefit and help VinFast in the coming days. So whether that be tomorrow or early next week, you do see a deviation, so red line above the black, showing a bearish sentiment. So I feel like there is a pretty good risk versus reward right now for VinFast, just based on the technicals and a lot of the data points like I mentioned. But bigger picture and throughout 2024, a lot of big money is going to be looking at the metrics, and I still feel VinFast's metrics, so the PS ratio, is rather high. But once again, that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. One final thing I wanted to share with you. Take advantage of this promo. It has been extended up until January the 15th. Sign up for an account with MULN, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is one of the best deals in the market. Take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.